Hey guys, Anders here with a breakdown of everything we learned on today's CalpheON Ball episode 2. Now, the biggest reveal was the new class, of course, Drakania. She is a Dragon Knight themed class with a Zweihander inspired weapon called the Slayer. Her offhand weapon is called the Shard and is actually part of her main weapon. It's a smaller sword that detaches automatically when you use certain skills, so it will detach and reattach whenever. Drakania is being pushed as sort of the antithesis of the Guardian class, where the Guardian has the blood of the ancient dragon Labreska. Drakania has the blood of Markthanen and thus is in conflict with the Guardian class and their protection of the Enix Flame. Now, you can have special dialogue in the new region storyline if you wish to play Drakania through that new region storyline. The Great Sword Slayer is a thinner sword than the Great Sword, for example, of the Warrior class, which they said was a conscious decision to give Drakania more speed in her movements, but still maintain a weighty feel in her attacks. The gameplay trailer showed us that she has very large AoE, a really good movement, and some impressive visuals where you are combining fire and lightning effects. Her succession will be releasing first and focuses on the Shard offhand ability. Her succession trait is called Bloodthirst, and it allows Drakania to chain charged attacks faster than normal to deal greater burst damage. She also has a trait called Ionization, where whenever she charges attacks, she fills up a meter which at the same time vacuums in monsters and drains the mana from enemies. Now, when you have enough ion energy, you can unleash powerful versions of your attack, so greater AoE and more damage. Her succession also has an added visual effect of dragon wings that show up whenever you use a skill that utilizes her succession trait. We also saw a skill that projects an ion barrier around her and gives Drakania a damage reduction buff, sort of like a personal protected area, but I think it works more like the Mystic's version of that type of skill a little bit better. It does seem to deal damage to surrounding enemies, which makes it very powerful. We also learned that Drakania also has additional traits stemming from her dragon lineage, where she heals herself whenever she deals damage with her shard skills while her health is below 50%. Now, in terms of movements, we saw she can leap forward even mid-air with a skill called Markthanen's Wings. This can be comboed with a bunch of other skills for some serious gap closing potential. Character creation for Drakania will start March 30th, so that's next week, and she's gonna release for all PC regions on April 6th. Now, console will have to get Drakania at a later date after the Odalita optimization is done. They went into how they developed the new class, which I found interesting, but I'll leave it to you guys if you want to see the VOD on Twitch or YouTube to find out more about the development of the animations and sound design of the class. Now, moving on from Drakania, we have confirmation of the new Balenos main story quest revamp with new cutscenes to better flesh out the story of BDO. They have done something similar with the Winter Region story, so it's nice to see them going back to the original story and updating the cutscenes and layout at least. They are also adding the tutorial section for new players to teach them some basics of the game. Boss cutscenes are also getting reworked, and NPC faces are getting updated to bring them more in line with current graphics. Now, all these changes will be coming to Korea on April 6th, with global regions getting them soon after once localization is finished. We also saw that there was a whole bunch of sound revamp going on in the game in terms of what music we're going to hear in certain regions. They're unifying a bunch of things, cutting out some other things, and bringing back some good stuff like the old Mount music, which if you haven't played for a long time, or you started playing maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, we used to have riding music whenever you got on your horse in Serendia or Balenos or CalpheON, Valencia. They all had riding music and it was really cool, but a lot of people hated it because they didn't want to hear it all the time, so we got an option to turn it off, and then eventually they just took it away completely. So that's coming back. It's getting revamped. They're also adding some other stuff as well, some different types of riding music, I believe, for the newer regions, so that's cool. I'm glad that's coming back. Grinding in Elvia has completely changed. They're gonna buff the income for all spots other than orcs to make them more in line with orc camp silver per hour. This includes the increased rate of Elvia weapon drops, so now when you drop a weapon, it is bound to you as well, so no one else can steal it driving by on their horse, which is annoying, let me tell ya. However, there is a nerf in regards to the Elvia weapon buff use, so even though we have now greater drop rate, we can only use Elvia weapon buffs for up to 30 minutes every hour. I'm assuming the way they're going to limit this is by getting a debuff where it will prevent you from using Elvia weapons for a number of minutes, so 30 minutes after you're done with the buff, or say whenever you get the Elvia buff and it goes for 30 minutes, you'll also get a debuff of an hour, I would imagine. This is a nerf for high-end players who are able to grind quick enough and have decent luck to basically get Elvia weapons all the time for an entire hour plus. It is, however, still a buff to the majority of players who don't fall under that criteria, which I think are not that many players. They also address the trouble of finding even open spots in Elvia zones. There will no longer be Elvia channels and normal channels divided. Instead, all the channels will have the option of going into Elvia or normal versions of each zone in Serendia at least. This will increase the amount of available Elvia zones to grind on. They're also making a private zone, which will allow you to grind a zone with no one disrupting you for up to an hour. This is made for those players who only have about an hour a day to grind when they get home from work and have trouble dealing with other players because they're usually playing at peak hours. They also showed off Elvia CalpheON zones and how the weather in the Elvia CalpheON zones will change and then affect your grinding in those zones. So if it's clear or cloudy, you switch up your grinding strategy. They also mentioned how killing certain monsters of a pack could do things like petrify the rest of the mob in the group, allowing you to deal more damage and make grinding easier. So gimmicks like Orc Camp, for example, that's what they want to do with it. Make grinding easier. Elvia CalpheON will be on test server next week, so we can actually see what they mean fairly soon. Now, the item drop UI function is now becoming more useful by showing you more information in-game, which I think is a good change. It's been too limited before. Artifacts and Lightstones will now have their own inventory to fight the inventory clutter problem. This is especially true if you're a life skiller. This also applies to life skill tools. They'll get their own inventory. They even made a new tool that allows you to do any type of gathering as long as you have the tools in this new bag. And for tree gathering, they mentioned how it will prioritize fluid collecting if the fluid collector is placed in front of the axe in the new tool bag. So it sounds good, but I think it's one of those items that will make more sense once we see how it functions in game, hopefully on test server next week. They're also unifying processing stones, so you only need one stone instead of all the different types. As for pet looting, they're making pets loot faster, or should I say more reliably, by focusing their looting radius on the loot drop and not on the character, because when you're moving too fast, the pets aren't picking up anything and they're leaving too many things behind. This should help with that. They're also adding a tier 5 pet, but only one can be out at a time, and you can get a tier 5 pet by upgrading any tier 4 pet with silver. Your new tier 5 pet will act as a leader to the other tier 4 or whatever tier pets you have out. They will give group effects like lower loot times for all other pets. There is no release window as to when we'll get tier 5, however. Tagging classes is now 50% cheaper than before. This goes live April 13th. More ways to get Marnie's process fuel as well with future events. We saw some new outfits that are being developed as well. The winter pre-order outfit is for all classes. The new Shy outfit coming soon as well. And then 3 new designs. So one for Sage, one for Hishashin, and one for Berserker, which is a remodel of an existing one that isn't very popular. They all look amazing. Carracks are also getting skins as well. Each type of Carrack will have one unique skin. They all look awesome if you ask me, but I think the Valor and the Volante are my favorite. This goes live in May for Korean servers, later for global regions, and they will more than likely be cash shop only from the look of it, but it is just my assumption, nothing confirmed on that front. Elixirs are now on a 1-second cooldown. Artifacts no longer have durability to alleviate the low durability issues we were having with them. Screenshot mode is now way more powerful, allowing us to change the time of day while we're in a screenshot mode. And lastly, they are introducing free roaming horses that allow you to use horses for a short time to get from place to place. They said you could even ride dream horses as a taxi from Velia to CalpheON and other spots. Again, this sounds cool, but we'll see exactly how it works once it goes live. And that's pretty much it for this CalpheON ball. I love the new class design, of course. I think I say this every time we see a new class, but it really does look incredible. Let me know what you guys think about the updates. Which update are you most hyped for? And I hope you all have a good weekend, and let me know what you guys think about today's video over on our community Discord. We're now public on Discord Discovery, so you can follow the link or search for Anders on Discord to join up and say hello. If you want to support the videos I make in small donations, you can follow the Ko-fi link below, buy me a cup of coffee. I love coffee as much as I love bells, so every coffee you buy me will be greatly appreciated, and will of course come with some Discord perks like premium channels, voice chat, and streams. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon to get notified when I upload my next video. Remember, bell is good. As always, guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.